You're telling me that you're walking into this place, having a grand old time, happy-go-lucky, and you're just, and everybody's all negative and unhappy. You're not going to notice the cold air in the room? That doesn't make sense.
Pascal, you are now rocking
Ellen DeGeneres finally speaks out in regards to they've been doing quite an investigation into the production behind her show. Tom, speak on it.
Yeah, Ellen DeGeneres wrote a letter to her crew that was obtained by the Hollywood Reporter. DeGeneres addressed the alleged workplace misconduct, which was detailed in BuzzFeed. The widely circulated piece includes a host of former employees, anonymous accusations of racism, intimidation, unjust termination, and an overall toxic work environment perpetuated by the show's top producers. Mm-hmm. So Ellen wrote a note to her crew saying that she insists that steps will be taken to correct the issues. It's worth noting that none of these allegations really involve Ellen herself. It's more about her producers running the show. But she said, my name's on it, and I take responsibility for what happens on my show. So I think it seems like the guy that was really at the center of the toxic atmosphere was an executive producer, Ed Glavin. He's one of the show's 3 executive producers. And it sounds like that's going to be the guy that gets pushed out here. Basically, one source close to the show says once Ed Glavin's out, it'll be like a whole new day. So it sounds like the center of that toxic atmosphere was this Ed Glavin guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, everyone's entitled to their opinion about this situation, but here it is. You are Ellen DeGeneres. This is the Ellen DeGeneres Show. You're telling me you don't know that the producers that you work closely with are not toxic or are toxic? You're telling me that you don't know the person that you're working with, that you don't hear these complaints ever? You don't hear anything at all? That seems weird to me. You're running a business. You're running this is your image. This is your business. You're telling me that you've never heard any complaints at all whatsoever from employees that your people have hired. And I understand that maybe you're not working in close proximity with all these people, but I guarantee you're hearing when there is a rustle. You know what I mean? You're hearing when something's not right. Also, if the energy in the room, if the energy at the workplace or behind the scenes is negative, you are most definitely a part of that. You're telling me that you're walking into this place, having a grand old time, happy-go-lucky, and you're just, and everybody's all negative and unhappy. You're not going to notice the cold air in the room? That doesn't make sense. So as much as she's sitting there going, we're taking care of it, blah, 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 and how that she's not that she's not connected to it. Mother lover, your name's on the damn awnings. Your damn name is the show. You are connected, baby. As much as we say that she ain't, she is. Yeah. That's what I say about that.
Yeah. She's, and she says, my name is on the show and everything we do, and I take responsibility for that. And she said, alongside Warner Brothers, we immediately began an internal investigation, and we are taking steps together to correct the issues. So, I mean, she is kind of playing ignorant here on it, that she didn't know. I can't imagine that's the case. I mean, you have to know if people aren't happy on your show.
Trust me.
But then one of the things that kind of came out in this is that crew were told not to talk to Ellen. It was kind of the same thing that came out about Steve Harvey a few years ago, that the crew was told to not talk to him and avoid eye contact and, just kind of.
But here's the thing, though. Let me just be straight funky with you, though.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Harvey, I'm not on his side on that situation. He wrote a letter. He wrote a letter saying that. He said, please don't look at me. Please don't bother me. If you have anything that you have to ask anybody, please go or ask to me, or you think that I'm the one to answer all these questions, please go talk to one of the producers or one of the PAs, because I ain't got time for this stuff. And that's literally what he said. And there's some parts that I understand in like the reason behind it, but it doesn't justify the means. You know, that created a toxic environment by doing that. But then also at the same time, it goes to show to you that you got a show where people are actually going to him and asking him questions. So you see that it's not like he's untouchable. People are coming up to him, just like Ellen. People are going up to Ellen. People are going up and asking her questions. Now, there's things that have already there's been accusations way before this, which we've talked about multiple times on the show, that where she has been known as being a negative Nancy, that she's been negative as hell. She's been rude. She's been curt and not as Ellen as she appears to be on TV. So I keep thinking that the energy that she's giving off, behind the scenes, is exactly the same energy that's just dispersing throughout the crew, and it's just going on and on and on. And if you have somebody who is terrible, I mean, there's sexual harassment allegations as well in this investigation as well. Now, like when you see something like that, you clearly are working with somebody. You're clearly working closely with that particular producer if you're the star of the show. How can you play dumb, or how can you turn a blind eye to something that has been going on for a very, very long time? This is not just brand new news where she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so surprised right now. No, this has been going on for years. For years.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense for her to just suddenly go, oh, I'm so absent-minded, and because my name is attached to it, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, guys. Let me just tell you guys that, we're going to get down to the bottom of it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. She absolutely probably did and should have known that some of this stuff, if not all of this stuff, was going on. You have to know, it is your show. You have to know what's going on it.
Yeah.
So I would think she did. I mean, hopefully it's a wake-up call to her. I mean, I like Ellen, or at least I like her public persona.
Me too.
I want her to be a good person.
Right.
There really isn't, I don't know. I mean, from these allegations, the more harsh allegations aren't really against her. They're against the producers. So I'm hopeful that, that she's not as terrible as these allegations, but she should have known better. She should have had more control over her own show.
Yeah. So. And what's funny to me is that, they've been trying to knock her down. They've been trying to knock her down. Not the show, not the producers, not any of the crew, just her. And now they're going, well, okay, apparently we can't get her off the top of this mountain, but we can at least knock out the mountain from under her. So let's go for the producers. Let's go for the crew. You see what I'm saying? It's like, all right, she could play dumb and go over here, but at the same time, we can get you another way and start just start tacking them off, just start knocking them out, bang, 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 because they can't get her. Because I'm sure she doesn't do anything except be just a really mean person. I'm sure she's just mean, and that's it. I'm sure she's just a mean person.
Let's not forget, she's a comic. That's where she comes from, is comedy clubs. Comics are comics. I forget which comic it was. It was saying this recently, but he's like, pretty much most comics are extreme personalities, borderline criminals. Like, I forget who it was the other person saying, like, being a comic is not that being a comic is a totally male profession, but a stripper goes up on stage and shows you their genitals. A comic goes up on stage and talks about their genitals. That is kind of the counterpart to that.
Yeah.
Like, these are not your average everyday people, comics. Yeah. They're weirdos. Man. So, I mean, if she is kind of a toxic person, I think that kind of falls with the industry. But hopefully this gets cleared up, and hopefully she takes responsibility for it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so too. But right now, she isn't. I mean, she is going, okay, it's my show, therefore we're going to get down to the bottom of it. But of course, it's going to be everyone except her that she's going to point the finger at in regards to the negativity in the room, and of course, thank God it's not her doing the sexual harassment or, thank God it's not her being the person that's doing all the bad things. But at the same time, she is a part of it if she's turned a blind eye to it. She's part of the problem if she's turning a blind eye to it. Should she still have her show? I don't know. I leave that question up to you guys for sure. But I do think that there needs to be some sort of come to Jesus moment for sure.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.